Today we are joined by an illustrious assembly of leaders who are pivotal to our discussions and the initiatives we aim to foster. People of the Greater Caribbean and Latin America, please join me in welcoming His Excellency Mr. Rodolfo Sabonge, Secretary General of the Association of Caribbean States, His Excellency Mr. Albert Ramdien, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and International Cooperation of the Republic of Suriname, His Excellency Qassem Mohammed Al-Boudawi, Secretary General of the Gulf Cooperation Council, Your Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Musalem, Secretary General of the Southern Cooperation Organization, distinguished ministers, vice ministers, special envoys, and envoys from our members and associate member states of the Association of Caribbean States, cabinet ministers of the Republic of Suriname, and other heads of delegation, representatives of the media, our esteemed ladies and gentlemen from the Greater Caribbean. Your presence here signifies your commitment to our shared goals and the profound impact we aim to achieve together. Let's embody the spirit of cooperation and determination to uplift our beautiful region. Today is not just a meeting, but a momentous step forward for our region. As we chart our course towards a bright future, it is only fitting that we begin with the words from a true architect of today's agenda. I am honored to introduce a man whose leadership is as vast as the Caribbean itself. Please welcome His Excellency Albert Ramdien, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and International Cooperation of the Republic of Suriname, to officially open our proceedings with his welcome remarks. Thank you.
Good. Better now. Good morning, all of you. Secretary General Rodolfo Sabonge, our good friend from Panama, the honorable ministers, our guests from the Middle East and from the Caribbean, Central America, and other countries as part of the Association of Caribbean States, heads of delegations, leadership of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or my colleagues from the welcome, bienvenidos, bienvenue, and welcome. All very clear to you what I mean by saying that. Welcome in the Republic of Suriname, one of the 3 carbon negative countries in the world, highly forested to almost 93% of its land mass, and with a high degree of biodiversity. A tolerant and ethnically diverse population with a richness in culture, language, art, music, and of course you'll taste the cuisine, which is also very diverse. We are very happy to have you here in Suriname. We wish you a most memorable stay. Feel free to come back in this unique Caribbean and South American country. So if you do not have enough time this time, every year, every day, you're welcome and see Caribbean. We are bound by the Caribbean Sea. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know we live in a world of uncertainty. We live in a world of conflicts, of rapidly changing social, human, and economic conditions, not only because of the current conflicts in the world, which has our close attention, but also the challenges associated with climate change. Many countries feel the brunt of this global phenomenon. Although we as a region, it's good to remember that, we as a region are not the major cause of greenhouse gas emissions. I want to extend condolences and our sympathy to the government and people of Brazil for the loss of life in the southern part of the country. Brazil plays a critical role currently in our own hemisphere, but certainly in the world as the host of the G20, but certainly also as the host of the COP30 next year in Belém do Pará. Ladies and gentlemen, Suriname as part of South America and the Caribbean can be a bridge between the two regions. Because of this geographical position, our natural resources, the climate conditions, we are, in our view, the ideal country to host this special theme, which is focused around fostering sustainable growth through increased production and improved connectivity. Standing here together underlines that our collective vision for a prosperous and resilient greater Caribbean community remains steadfast. Together we understand the crucial role that production and connectivity plays in driving economic growth, creating opportunities for our people, and building a better future for generations to come. We need to work together to identify and tackle common challenges, support each other, and connect for better opportunities. Only, and this is something I believe we all support, only a unity and peace we can create sustained prosperity in the wider Caribbean. We must be guided by high moral standings to avoid conflict in our region and find solutions through dialogue, value-based diplomacy, and effective multilateralism. We must remain a zone of peace and security in the world, as these are fundamental requirements for mutual beneficial collaboration and facilitation of investments and trade. While we as a government work on facilitating measures by organizing events like this, we must also prioritize the development of our domestic enterprises and foster an environment conducive to innovation and entrepreneurship. Companies can then leverage their strengths and embrace collaborative partnerships to unlock the full potential of our region and to create an inclusive, peaceful, and sustainable prosperity for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the Association of Caribbean States, as a grouping of 25 member states and 3 associated members, 4 groupings in total of countries, with a total population of 300 million, a little bit more than 300 million people, with enormous growth potential. This wider Caribbean region represents an economy of almost $3 trillion US. And I'm sure that through concerted efforts, which we are going to discuss over the coming 2 days, 3 days, with political will, with the embracement of production and especially connectivity, we can increase that number and become a global force as well. This region, Latin America, Central America, and the Caribbean, totally a number of almost 650 million people. So there is enough potential close to us in terms of a prosperous market. We don't need to look further down. It's always good, but close in this own region, we have opportunities which we can utilize, and it's not done enough. So this meeting is meant to facilitate that process. So let me come back to the theme of this forum. 3 key aspects for entrepreneurs are mentioned here in our theme. Sustainable growth can only happen if there is stability in our society, social and political stability. Entrepreneurs must appreciate the notion of risk-taking and willingness through hard work to create production, to create increased production. One of the key challenges we all face, and which I hope we will be discussing extensively throughout the coming days, we have many experts in this room dealing with connectivity. Sea and air routes are critically important. Without those, nor goods, nor people, nor services will travel around the region. We need to foster better connectivity, but also digital connectivity. We need to know more about our own region. It's surprising to see that within the regions itself, there is little knowledge about each other, about the potential of doing more business. So within our own context of a range of less than 1,000 kilometers, we can do more business if we connect, if we increase production, and if we have political commitment. So this business forum is your platform for dialogues, discussions, collaboration, partnership building, market research, innovation in several sectors. Together we have many similar sectors such as tourism, trade, agriculture, energy, technology, to explore new avenues of collaboration. It is with great pleasure that we welcome so many companies participating in the exhibition area, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, which is the backbone of every single economy in terms of employment and income generation. I encourage you to fully utilize this opportunity and learn from each other's expertise and knowledge. I urge all participants, companies, business support organizations, trade and investment promotion agencies, some of which are present today, and policymakers to engage in fruitful discussions and explore opportunities for collaboration. Your insights and expertise are invaluable as we work towards building a brighter future for the Caribbean region. Ladies and gentlemen, the Association of Caribbean States will celebrate next year 30 years of existence. It is a non-political entity. It's a non-political intergovernmental agency, one that focuses on functional cooperation in different areas of trade, transport, external economic relations, environment, and so on. But in my view, and I hope this will be shared by member states, we need to add a more active role for the ACS in terms of facilitating investments and facilitating trade. So in my view, the ACS is suitably positioned to promote intra and inter-regional trade and investments. We must bring private sector organizations of all regions and countries together in an increased and together create an ACS platform for promoting and doing business. Just for the member states who will be participating on Thursday in the ministerial meeting, this will be one of the proposals, to create a network of business organizations so that we can promote doing business in our own region. Without connecting with the private sector organizations and in the regions and in country, we will not be able to utilize the full potential of the opportunities. So, in closing, I must thank the Secretary General and his team for facilitating this process. I want to thank member states for being present, but also for participating in the business sections and in the exhibition. And I'd like to also thank our own team here in Suriname for organizing this 4 events in a row. It's not easy. It's one of the largest events. The ACS, by the way, for those who do not know, is a non-political body. Maybe that's why it doesn't draw that much of attention, but it's the second largest multilateral organization in the Western Hemisphere, after the Organization of American States. 25 member states, 3 associated members, many observer states, some of which are present here, and we have engaged in partnership with many outside organizations within the hemisphere globally. The Gulf Cooperation Council is one of them, and others. So we are open to make the organization much more useful to the hemisphere. And I think what we need is our political leadership to commit to that. So thank you all for being here. Enjoy your stay in Suriname, and I wish you all a productive and successful outcome of the meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Amdeen, for setting the stage with such visionary remarks. Now, we shift our focus to a crucial element of today's agenda. As we pivot to a pivotal discussion on regional business development, Please allow me to introduce our esteemed moderator for this segment. Joining us to guide a conversation is Ms. Sherida Mormon, a leader in advising business innovation and creation. Ms. Mormon brings a wealth of experience and insight to our discussions today and will introduce our distinguished keynote speaker. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Sherida Mormon to the stage. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce today our keynote theme and keynote speaker. The theme for today is Mechanism to Support Regional Business Development in the Greater Caribbean. The keynote speaker will discuss the crucial role played by regional development agencies in coordinating efforts, sharing resources, and implementing policies that support sustainable economic growth in the Greater Caribbean region to improve the regional business environment. The keynote speaker will also discuss priority actions necessary for facilitating intra-regional trade and business. Mrs. Vasha Sarju, our executive committee member of the CARICOM Private Sector Organization, CPSO, and chief executive officer of the Rudisa Group of Companies in Suriname. An experienced business and commercial professional, Mrs. Vasha Sarju holds bachelor and master degrees in business administration, international business, and finance. With over 6 years of experience as Managing Director, Mrs. Sarju has held the position of Chief Operating Officer for over 13 years at the Rudisa Group of Companies, which is the founding member of the CARICOM Private Sector Organization. She currently functions in the capacity of Chief Executive Officer of the Rudisa Group of Companies. With experience in mediating strategic long and short-term planning, change management, and financial reform, she is also an active member of numerous organizations promoting education, change, and empowerment to youth and young professionals. Mrs. Sarju joined the CPSO as an executive committee member in 2019. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mrs. Sarju.
Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As all the protocols have been performed before me, allow me to continue with the speech. Can you hear? Good. Please allow me first to extend apologies for the unavoidable presence of Dr. Patrick Antoine, the CPSO, CEO, and Technical Director. I bring you greetings and best wishes for a successful forum from the chairman of the CPSO and my colleagues of the CPSO Executive Committee. It is an honor and privilege to be representing in two important private sector capacities today. First, as the CPSO Executive Committee, representative of Suriname, and secondly, as the CEO of Rudisa International NV, also representing the vibrant nation of Suriname. On this auspicious occasion of the 16th ACS Business Forum of the Greater Caribbean, being hosted for the first time in Suriname, I extend the warmest welcome to each and every one of you from the Suriname private sector and on my behalf. Rudisa International NV is a beacon of entrepreneurship and innovation in our region, with a steadfast commitment to driving economic growth, fostering sustainable development, and promoting cross-border collaboration. Our company has developed a diverse portfolio of 29 companies spanning across 7 countries and a dedicated workforce of over 1,200 employees. We have navigated the intricacies of the Caribbean business landscape with resilience and determination. Our main divisions are in food and beverage manufacturing, distribution, construction materials, and motor vehicles. The CARICOM Private Sector Organization is an associate institution of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. The 40th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of CARICOM approved the formation of the establishment of the CPSO in July of 2019, and the organization was formally designated as an associate institution of the community in October 2020 at the 41st regular meeting of heads. The mandate of the CPSO is to contribute to the full implementation of the CARICOM single market and economy, and to mobilize the advanced private sector interest and participation for both large and small businesses in the CARICOM. The CPSO acts as a bridge between the private sector and the CARICOM institutions. The CPSO also advocates for policies that improve the business environment within the Caribbean community and provides a platform for collaboration and information sharing among businesses and business support organizations in the region. I want to begin by emphasizing that the regional private sector understands the critical role and the importance of improving connectivity, fostering sustainable growth, and increasing productivity in our region. Critically, we in the regional private sector are fully committed to playing our part in realizing this triad of objectives of connectivity, growth, and productivity. Through strategic partnerships, innovative solutions, and a steadfast commitment to excellence, we believe that tangible progress can be achieved, which ultimately will create a brighter future for all. With your indulgence, I would like to seize the opportunity of the next 20 minutes or so to exchange some perspectives by the private sector on how the private sector perceives its role within the greater Caribbean landscape regarding the potential of the sustainable growth of our region. My remarks are organized into 5 sections. They begin by setting the general context for the greater Caribbean region. Thereafter, I will present some thoughts on the ease of doing business in the greater Caribbean, highlighting the challenges. Next, the focus will be given on connectivity and production, while comparing the current situation with the SDG goals. Finally, I will set out the priorities we need to address to ultimately achieve sustainable growth. As you are well aware, the countries of the greater Caribbean are quite diverse. 13 member island states, while 12 are continental states. At least 4 official languages are spoken across the grouping. The Greater Caribbean membership ranges from micro-states such as St. Kitts and Nevis, the 13th smallest state in the world by population, to the largest states such as Mexico, the 11th largest country in the world by population. All these member states, however, share similarities in culture and in history, and are joint custodians of the world, one of the world's most pristine, economically and ecologically important marine spaces. These areas of commonality, as well as the ecological and other diversities, provide a solid platform for mutual beneficial cooperation among the states and also for the business community. More directly, in terms of economic potential, the opportunity space in the Greater Caribbean manifests a combined annual economic output in excess of $2.5 trillion. Putting this into perspective, if the Greater Caribbean were a single economy, it would be the 8th largest in the world, twice the size of the Canadian economy. In terms of population, the Greater Caribbean population of over 295 million would make it the 4th largest in the world, displacing Indonesia for that position. From an international policy perspective, despite embargoes of varying degrees imposed on some of our members, the Greater Caribbean remains open, with the region conducting about 1.5 trillion US dollars in international trade per annum, placing it within the top 10th globally, the 7th to be specific. These metrics on the Greater Caribbean groupings are enhanced by the fact that the growth fundamentals in the economy of many member states remain strong, with pre-COVID average of GDP growth exceeding 2% per annum in 16 of the 25 economies. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we engage over the next couple of days in discussion regarding how the private sector across these economies will exude so much potential and can be more proactively engaged in unlocking the potential for growth and development, we are only looking at discussion about possibilities that are achievable. So what is the challenge? While there are tremendous opportunities to be leveraged, the level of internal trade within the Greater Caribbean, however, is relatively low. Internal trade within the Greater Caribbean accounts only for 5.3% of the total trade in the region. Intra-Caribbean trade ensures that all the welfare gains from trade are retained within the Greater Caribbean region. Further, every dollar of extra-Caribbean imports that is displaced in favor of intra-Caribbean supports employment and value chain deployment in an economy within the region. Approximately 95% of the $653 billion US dollars of commodity imports by the ACS economies, equivalent to 25.4% of the combined GDP, originates from outside the region. Within the Caribbean community, the situation is slightly better, with intra-CARICOM trade accounting between 14 to 15% of the total trade. When assessed from the standpoint of regional integration, CARICOM's performance also falls somewhat behind other groupings, such as ASEAN, SADC, and COMESA, etc. Several factors are attributed as reasons for the low level of trade among the groupings. And there can be no denying in the fact that understanding the causes of weak trade and business performance is important. But as we look to the future, I believe the central preoccupation for all of us in the private region sector should be imperative to implement policies and in forging these trade and investment linkages. Our regional private sector in CARICOM recognizes that there is an absolutely critical role for institutions such as CARICOM Private Sector's organization, both in terms of building bridges among the private sector across our diverse region and in acting as a mediator and representative for body of advising governments on how to go about the requirements for business making, as this is the foundation of trade among the grouping. The CPSO, in a few short years of existence, has actively shaped policy in the CARICOM. Food import displacement and agriculture development through the 25 by 25 initiative is well underway, addressing issues of connectivity and identifying a maritime transport solution for the Southern Caribbean, supporting the review and reform of trade in goods regime, CARICOM rules of origin and common external tariff, work towards a single CARICOM stock exchange, among other areas. Both the CPSO and the ACS Business Forum share a goal of promoting economic development, business opportunities within the Greater Caribbean. The CPSO specifically focuses on CARICOM member states, while the ACS Business Forum has a broader scope of encompassing the entire Greater Caribbean region. The forum's discussion on fostering connectivity, production, and sustainable growth directly align with the CPSO's mission of supporting the CMSE and advocating more for a favorable business environment. The CPSO as an organization is working alongside other stakeholders to achieve many of the forum's goals. The ACS Business Forum, under the ACS umbrella, serves as a vital platform for fostering dialogue and collaboration among businesses across the Greater Caribbean. We at the CPSO wholeheartedly echo this mission. Our organization was established to mobilize and advance private sector participation in the CARICOM initiatives, with particular focus on the success of the CARICOM single market economy. A strong integrated CSME is essential for creating a vibrant business environment throughout the Caribbean. The vision of establishing and strengthening ties to the extended of the Greater Caribbean as a collective ESO's core objectives. The focus and improved connectivity, increased production, sustainable practices resonate deeply with us. These elements are essential for building a more resilient and competitive Caribbean economy. The CPSO actively advocates for policies that reduce trade barriers within the CSME, facilitating the free movement of goods and services. Invest in infrastructure development to improve connectivity across the region. Promote innovation and skills development to create a future-proof workforce. Encourage the adoption of sustainable practices throughout the business landscape. By working together with organizations such as CARICOM, ACS, Caribbean universities, IICA, as well as government and civil society, the CPSO strives to create an environment where Caribbean businesses can flourish and contribute to the sustainable future of our region. I will now highlight a few areas which we constitute necessary and sufficient conditions for private sector activation and expansion of the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, navigating the ease of doing business across the Greater Caribbean landscape can be a complex standardization of processes and streamlining regulations that can sometimes vary from country to country. This inconsistency can create challenges for businesses seeking to expand their reach within the region. However, there's a positive undercurrent. Many Caribbean nations are actively engaged in reform efforts. These initiatives focus on simplifying procedures, reducing bureaucratic hurdles, and making it easier for businesses to access financing. This commitment to improvement is encouraging. The truth is, the Greater Caribbean offers a wealth of potential, from abundant natural resources to thriving tourism sector and a talented workforce. The ingredients for success are all here. By working together, we address the existing challenges and capitalize on ongoing reforms. We can create a more streamlined and welcoming environment for businesses of all sizes. This is where collaboration becomes crucial. By fostering dialogue and sharing best practices, organizations like the ACS and the CPSO can play a vital role in supporting positive transformation. From reports of the World Bank and the IDB on doing business in the Greater Caribbean, we can summarize the following balance. The challenges are standardization and streamlining. Processes for starting a business, obtaining permits, and complying with regulations can differ significantly between countries. This lack of standardization creates hurdles for businesses looking to operate within the region. The infrastructure. The infrastructure is limited, particularly in areas like transportation and logistics, can hinder efficient production and movement of our locally produced goods. The access to credit. Small and medium-sized enterprises can face difficulties obtaining financing due to complex procedures or limited credit availability. Positive developments are the reform efforts, and I cannot commend this enough. Many Caribbean countries have undertaken reforms in the recent years to improve the business environment. These reforms often focus on streamlining procedures, reducing bureaucracy, and improving access to credit. Investment opportunities. The Caribbean offers a wealth of potential for investment, with abundant natural resources and a growing tourism sector and a talented workforce. The regional initiatives, the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, aims to create a more integrated market and facilitate trade within the region. This can benefit business by providing access to a wider market. The Caribbean as a region is well organized for tourism products. Sunshine and sandy beaches also faces a hidden dual reality, the heavy reliance on imports. This dependence on external sources for essential goods leaves the region vulnerable to disruptions beyond its shores. The current global chain restraints are a prime example. Delays, shortages, and skyrocketing shipping costs that are creating a ripple effect, impacting businesses across the Caribbean. Essential goods, from raw materials to finished products, are becoming harder and harder to obtain and more expensive to bring in. The situation is further compounded by global inflation. Rising prices for everything from fuel to food imports are hitting the Caribbean hard. Consumers are feeling the pinch, facing higher grocery bills and tighter budgets. Businesses are also struggling, with increased input costs squeezing the profit margins. This import-heavy reality highlights the importance of strengthening domestic production within the Caribbean. By focusing on increased self-sufficiency in key sectors, the region can become more resilient to external shocks. Investments in agriculture, in local manufacturing, and renewable energy can help reduce dependence on imports and create a more sustainable economic future. So what are we, as part of the community, doing to seize these opportunities? At the CPSO, we understand the challenges, but we are also bringing with optimism about the Caribbean's potential. That is why we have been laser-focused on several key areas to empower businesses and unlock opportunities for growth. Market access really does matter. Unnecessary barriers and red tape stifles business growth. By advocating for unimpeded access to the markets of the Caribbean member states, has been collaborating with the community to create the scale that the Caribbean businesses require to achieve competitiveness. This is essential for businesses like Rudisa, of course, to reach new customers, expand our reach, and contribute to a vibrant regional economy. As the CEO of Rudisa International with businesses in several Caribbean countries, I know firsthand the struggle, investment, and manpower we had to invest to open up these new markets. We are talking here about CARICOM markets that was so difficult for a Surinamese company to enter. Unfortunately, there are still examples of our products being treated differently in the markets of our CARICOM partners. Secondly, the free movement of people. The Caribbean is a treasure trove of talent. Enabling the free movement of skilled professionals across the borders ensures businesses have access to human capital they need to succeed. This fosters innovation, knowledge sharing, and ultimately a more competitive regional workforce. From a macro perspective, the scarcities in certain markets can be supplied by the abundance in others. For companies that are operating as multinationals, it is vital for their growth and sustainability to have their people move freely in these countries to ensure operations are not disrupted. The CPSO was disappointed by the missed deadline for CARICOM to embrace the full free movement by the 31st of March 2024. We, however, remain optimistic that this commitment can be achieved within the 3-year time frame offered to the member states to institute the legislative and administrative changes. Tariff rate quotas. TRQs are a balancing act, allowing for the import of essential goods while protecting domestic producers. The CPSO is eager to work with the community to instate appropriate TRQs which are fair and transparent. One good example for this is for the further development of the CARICOM poultry meat markets. We believe that policy instruments such as TRQs are the key that will harmonize the benefits and a consistent access to wholesome poultry meat, the principal form of protein for many, while providing benefits to micro, small, and larger producers in both the smaller and larger economies. This will be critical for sustainable growth, measured in terms of employment, investment, foreign exchange savings, economic activity, and the vitality of rural communities. Financial muscle, deepening regional finance. A robust financial system is the oxygen for business growth. By supporting these initiatives, the strengthening regional capital markets and stock exchanges, the CPSO helps businesses access the financing they need to invest, innovate, and create jobs. Currently, we are seeing disparities in the financial markets between availability of capital versus strong projects and businesses to finance. The need for regional financing and access to capital and regional stock market from a private sector standpoint is really high. We are noticing that development banks are trying to fill this need or gap in the growth cycle. However, we, as the Greater Caribbean, need to have solutions that fit our needs. These are systemic, structural, and sustainable. The other big need for regional financing is for an evening and spreading of foreign currency needs and joint corresponding banking needs. There has been enough said about the treatment of Caribbean businesses and private persons under the international banking rules. Together and unified, we can manage our needs and priorities better. Setting sail, regional maritime transportation. An efficient and reliable maritime transport system is the Caribbean's commercial lifeline. The CPSO advocates for investments in infrastructure and policies that promote seamless movement of goods across the region. This reduces transportation costs, improves supply chain efficiency, and ultimately benefits businesses and consumers. Later on, I will go on deeper on this subject. Clear communication, the front of package labeling. Empowered consumers make informed choices. The CPSO supports a comprehensive package of measures, including FOPL standards, which assist customers to make informed decisions about food they eat, which can promote healthier choices and contribute to the reduction of non-communicable diseases in our region. Building a stronger foundation, institution building. Strong institutions provide the bedrock for a thriving economy. The CPSO actively promotes initiatives that strengthen regional institution and governance. This fosters a more stable and predictable business environment, which is essential for attracting investment and driving sustainable economic development. We must be frank, though. Progress on some of these issues has not always matched the rapid pace the private sector would like to see. However, we at the CPSO are confident that the public sector is making significant efforts to address these challenges. Through continued collaboration and open dialogue, we can bridge the gaps and create a more streamlined and efficient environment for business to operate and flourish. By tackling these crucial areas, the CPSO is working diligently to create an environment where Caribbean businesses can flourish. We believe that through collaboration, focused attention, and commitment to regional integration, the Caribbean can seize the opportunities that lie ahead and secure a brighter economic future for all. As we delve into the current state of connectivity, production, and productivity in the Caribbean, it is essential to recognize the interconnectedness of these factors with the broader global agenda of the sustainable development. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals provide a framework for addressing pressing challenges while promoting prosperity, social inclusion, and environmental sustainability. Connectivity in the Caribbean plays a pivotal role in driving economic growth and fostering regional integration. However, the region still faces significant challenges in terms of transportation infrastructure, digital connectivity, and access to reliable energy sources. A word on transportation infrastructure. Efficient transportation infrastructure is the livelihood of commerce. Yet inadequate road networks, ports, and airports hinder the seamless movement of goods and people across the region. Improving transportation infrastructure is critical to reducing logistical cost, enhancing trade facilitation, and promoting economic development. Many Caribbean nations struggle with outdated and poorly maintained road networks, characterized by potholes, limited capacity, and insufficient signage. These deficiencies not only hamper the movement of goods, but also people, and contribute to road accidents and traffic congestion, impacting productivity and economic growth. While the Caribbean is home to several major ports and harbors, congestion, outdated facilities, and limited investment in port infrastructure pose significant challenges. Inefficient port operations lead to delays in cargo handling, increased shipping costs, and reduced competitiveness in global trade. Moreover, inadequate port facilities hinder the region's ability to capitalize on a strategic geographic position as a gateway between North and South America. One of the long-standing challenges faced by the Caribbean region is the limited number of shipping routes and the availability of cargo ships. Due to factors such as geographical constraints, small market size, and insufficient demand for certain goods, many international companies operate on a limited number of routes serving the Caribbean. As a result, there are fewer options for exporters and importers to transport their goods, leading to increased resilience on a handful of shipping companies and routes. The limited availability of cargo ships servicing the Caribbean region further compounds this challenge. The shipping companies often prioritize routes with higher demand and profitability, leaving smaller markets in the Caribbean underserviced. Consequently, businesses in the region face higher shipping costs, longer transit times, a greater uncertainty in securing transportation for their goods. These factors ultimately drive up the prices of imported goods, impacting consumer purchasing power and overall economic competitiveness. Although the Caribbean boasts numerous international airports, capacity constraints and outdated terminals and limited air connectivity remain key concerns. Inefficient airport operations lead to flight delays, cancellations, and poor passenger experiences, deterring tourism and business travel. Moreover, high operating costs and limited airline competition contribute to the inflated ticket prices, further hindering travel and economic development, as well as air cargo. By addressing these challenges relating to limited shipping routes and cargo ship availability, the Caribbean can enhance its connectivity, competitiveness, and resilience in the global economy, ultimately benefiting businesses, consumers, and overall socio-economic development of this region. In October 2023, the CARICOM heads provided CPSO with a mandate to work towards private sector resolution for the maritime transportation issue in the Southern Caribbean. The CPSO is making extremely good progress on this mandate, and we expect to have a comprehensive report with some solutions and options by the 47th regular meeting of heads in July 2024. Admittedly, there's so much more to be done, but we urgently need successful interventions. In today's digital age, access to reliable internet connectivity is paramount for driving innovation and entrepreneurship and social inclusion. However, many countries still struggle with the limited broadband coverage and high internet costs, exacerbating digital divides and hindering the growth of digital economies. I was told that several experts will talk about this topic indeed today. Indeed, the CPSO is engaged with CARICOM, the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, the Caribbean Association Network, and the telecom communications operators over the top, and the Organization of Caribbean Utility Regulators to instate the appropriate changes in policy to better match the aspirations of the regional private sector. Access to affordable and sustainable energy is essential for powering economic activities and enhancing productivity. Despite the region's abundant renewable energy potential, reliance on important fossil fuels remain high in the Caribbean nations. Transitioning to renewable energy sources can not only reduce carbon emissions, but also enhance energy security and resilience to external shocks. Production and productivity. Product levels in the Caribbean often lack adequate skills training and inefficient production processes. Caribbean, particularly within the manufacturing companies, requires a nuanced understanding of interconnected issues. Complex regulatory frameworks, including licensing requirements, environmental regulations, labor laws, imposive lengthy permit processes, and frequent inspections only add to the compliance costs, stifling innovation and growth. Secondly, there's a pressing need to address the skills shortage and workforce deployment. The region faces a shortage of skilled labor, particularly in technical and specialized fields. Limited access to the quality vocational training and outdated curricula exacerbates this issue, hindering efforts to enhance productivity and innovation. In addition, this point should be seen in light of difficulties with the free movement of people within the region. Moreover, technology adoption and innovation remain key challenges for many manufacturing firms in the Caribbean. Lagging behind the global competitors in adopting advanced technologies and modern production processes, businesses face barriers such as limited access to affordable technology solutions and a lack of digital infrastructure. Overcoming resistance to change is crucial for unlocking productivity gains and remaining competitive in the global market. Additionally, supply chain disruptions and vulnerabilities pose significant risk to manufacturing operations. Global supply chain disruptions, driven by factors such as trade disruptions, natural disasters, and geopolitical tensions, have severe impacts for the Caribbean businesses. Reliance on imported inputs and limited diversification increases exposure to supply chain disruptions and production bottlenecks, highlighting the need for resilience and adaptability. In summary, addressing these multifaceted challenges requires collaborative efforts from both the public and the private sector. This is necessary if we want to keep producing in the region and lower our dependency from the outside. Streamlining regulatory processes, investing in vocational training and education, fostering innovation ecosystems, and strengthening supply chain resilience are essential steps towards enhancing production and productivity in the Caribbean. Through strategic partnerships and coordinated initiatives, we can overcome these obstacles and unlock the region's full potential for economic growth and sustainable development. The challenges and opportunities in connectivity, production, and productivity align closely with several SDGs, including Goal 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure, Goal 7, Affordable and Clean Energy, Goal 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth, and Goal 17, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure. Improving transportation infrastructure, enhancing digital connectivity, and promote inclusivity and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Enhancing productivity and promoting inclusive economic growth. Full and productive employment and decent work for all. By addressing productivity challenges and fostering entrepreneurship, the Caribbean can create more opportunities for decent work and economic empowerment. Goal 17. Achieving the SDGs requires strong partnership and collaboration among governments, businesses, civil society, and other stakeholders. Goal 17 emphasizes the importance of multi-stakeholder partnerships in mobilizing resources, sharing knowledge, and promoting sustainable development globally. In conclusion, concentrated efforts and collaboration aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals by leveraging development goals from a business standpoint. As we look it is crucial to identify key areas where targeted actions can yield significant socio-economic benefits. Priority areas include transportation, improving road networks, ports, and airports to enhance connectivity and facilitate movement of goods and people. Digital infrastructure, expanding the access to reliable internet connectivity to promote digital inclusion and support the growth of digital economies. Renewable energy, transitioning to clean and sustainable energy sources to reduce carbon emissions and enhance energy security. Point 2. And this is a very important. Key priorities include supporting SMEs, credit and financial services for small and medium-sized enterprises to spur innovation and job creation. Regional capital markets. Strengthening regional capital markets and stock exchanges provide businesses with access to financing for investment and expansion. Financial inclusion, promoting financial literacy and expanding access to banking services to underserved communities, empowering them to participate in the formal economy. Skills development and workforce empowerment, Goal 4 and Goal 8. Investing in the education and skills development is essential for building a competitive workforce. Prior entrepreneurship education, providing training and driving job creation and economic diversification. Promoting sustainable agriculture and food security, Goal 2, zero hunger, and Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. Investing in sustainable agriculture and promoting food security are critical for the insurance of the well-being of communities and mitigating the impacts of climate change. Priority initiatives include supporting smallholder farms, providing them assistance and resources to smallholder farms to adopt sustainable farming practices, increasing productivity and improve their livelihoods. Diversifying food systems, promoting crop diversification and sustainable food production methods to enhance resilience to climate change and ensure access to nutritious and affordable food for all. Reducing food waste, implementing measures to reduce post-harvest losses and food waste among the supply chain, promoting responsible consumption and production practices. Enhancing regional collaboration and partnerships, Goal 17, Partnership for Goals. Strengthening collaboration among governments, businesses, civil society, and other stakeholders is essential for achieving the SDGs in the Greater Caribbean. Priority actions include public and private partnerships, encouraging partnerships between the public and private sectors to leverage resources, expertise, and innovation for sustainable development initiatives, cross-sectoral collaboration, facilitating dialogue and cooperation across sectors to address complex challenges such as climate change, environmental degradation, and social inequality. Knowledge sharing, promoting knowledge sharing and the best practices exchange among stakeholders to accelerate the progress towards the SDGs and build resilience in the face of global challenges. In conclusion, by prioritizing investments in these key areas, the Greater Caribbean can make a significant stride towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goal while unlocking new opportunities for business growth, innovation, and inclusive development. Through collective action and shared commitment and to sustainability, we can build a brighter future for generations to come. As we embark on the journey towards sustainable business development in the Greater Caribbean, it is essential to translate aspiration into tangible actions that drive real and lasting change. Achieving actual sustainable growth requires concerted efforts from all stakeholders, including governments, businesses, civil society, and the international community. So let's recap the key insights and chart the path for growth, hopefully. Improving transportation infrastructure, including shipping lines, ports, airports, digital connectivity, is essential for enhancing regional connectivity and facilitating trade. Investments in resilient infrastructure and renewable energy resources is crucial for driving economic growth, reducing carbon emissions, and enhancing energy security. Facilitating access to affordable credit and financing services for SMEs is vital for fostering entrepreneurship, stimulating economic growth, and creating job opportunities. Enhancing vocational training programs and promoting STEM education are essential for building a competitive workforce and driving innovations in key sectors. Supporting smallholder manufacturing and agriculture and promoting sustainable manufacturing agriculture practices are critical for ensuring food security. Reducing the post-harvest losses and promoting responsible consumption and production. Diversifying food system and reducing food waste are key priorities for building resilience to climate change and ensuring access to nutritious and affordable food for all. Strengthening collaboration among governments, businesses, civil society, and other stakeholders is essential for achieving the SDGs and driving sustainable development initiatives. Public-private partnerships and cross-sectoral collaborations are instruments in leveraging resources, expertise, and innovation for sustainable growth. Immediate priorities in shipping routes and production. This is the path forward to growth. Optimizing shipping routes, addressing the limited availability of shipping routes and cargo ships servicing the Caribbean is critical for enhancing regional connectivity and reducing transportation costs. Collaborating with international shipping companies and regional stakeholders to increase the frequency and reliability of shipping services can improve access to global markets for Caribbean businesses. Boosting domestic production, streamlining the regulatory processes, and reducing bureaucratic red tape for manufacturing businesses is essential for improving operational efficiency and fostering innovation. Investing in technology adoption, skills development, and supply chain resilience can enhance productivity and competitiveness in key sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture, and renewable energy. The next immediate action steps should be facilitate dialogue and collaboration among governments, businesses, and international shipping companies to identify opportunities for optimizing shipping routes and increasing cargo ship availability. Establish public and private partnerships as initiatives to streamline regulatory processes, reduce administrative burdens, and support technology adaptation and innovation in manufacturing. Prioritize investments in infrastructure development, vocational training, and renewable energy projects to enhance regional connectivity, boost productivity, and drive sustainable economic growth. Achieving actual sustainable growth in the Greater Caribbean requires a holistic approach that addresses the interconnected challenges and leverages opportunity and collaboration and innovation. By focusing on immediate priorities in optimizing shipping routes and boosting domestic production, we can unlock new opportunities for business growth, job creation, and inclusivity of development in this region. Through collective actions, a brighter future for the Greater Caribbean and ensure prosperity for generations to come. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organization of this forum for their vision and leadership in convening this gathering of the minds, and I look forward to fruitful discussions and meaningful collaborations in the days ahead. Together, let us embark on this journey towards sustainable growth, guided by a vision of a more resilient, inclusive, and prosperous Caribbean region. I thank you.
Well, because of the time, I will not make a summary, but it is important to see that, that there is a potential. We can be the 8th largest economy as a single economy in the Caribbean, but we need to comply to the SDGs, and we need to systematically work on the issues and address the issues by collaborating and by working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharida Morman. And thank you, Ms. Sarju, for those enlightening insights into strengthening our regional business landscape. Your words have certainly sparked a wave of enthusiasm amongst us to actively remove bottlenecks and engage with each other to unlock these opportunities for growth. Ladies and gentlemen, since the President is already on the premise, we will skip the coffee break and move on to the opening. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and stand still to welcome our distinguished leader, His Excellency Chandrika Persad Santokhi, President of the Republic of Suriname. And please welcome our distinguished leader, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, President of the Republic of Suriname. Mr. President, welcome. It is an honor to have you with us today, Mr. President, as we embark on this important journey together. Now, please remain standing as we honor our host country. I have the privilege to introduce Michael Yorks, who will lead us into singing the national anthem of the Republic of Suriname. Let's embrace this moment of national pride together. Mr. Michael?
God zij met ons Suriname, Hij verheft ons heerlijk land. Hoe wij hier ook samen kwamen, aan zijn grond zijn wij verpand. Werkend houden we in gedachten, recht en waarheid maken vrij. Al wat goed is te betrachten, dat geeft aan ons land waardij. Opo kondre mang opo sranang grong ekari Wan sopetatako mopo wimuseti kon drebung. Strijdewi no safrede, gado dewi fesimang. Eri libitena de wisafe tigi sranang.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a heartfelt round of applause for Michael Yorks, whose voice has so beautifully honored our national heritage. Thank you so much. Please be seated. Now, we turn our attention to a distinguished leader whose guidance steers our collective aspirations. It is my great privilege to introduce His Excellency Rodolfo Sabonge, Secretary General of the Association of Caribbean States. He's here to share pivotal updates and visionary strategies of the Caribbean, of the Greater Caribbean. Please welcome Secretary General Sabonge to the stage.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Chan Santokhi, President of the Republic of Suriname. The Honorable Albert Ramdin, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and International Cooperation of the Republic of Suriname and Chair of the ACS Ministerial Council. Honorable representatives of ACS member states, associate members and observers, esteemed representatives of the Greater Caribbean business community, Secretary General of the GCC, welcome. It is indeed a privilege to welcome you to this 16th edition of the Greater Caribbean Business Forum here in Paramaribo, Suriname. The presence of such a large and diverse body of Caribbean representatives here today from both public and private sectors is a testament of the region's desire to foster sustainable growth in the wider Caribbean through increased production and productivity and connectivity. This business forum is a very special to us because the ACS prepares to celebrate its 30th anniversary. Business and how we trade has a lot to do with the strong links between our member states, and we are committed to paying special attention to strengthening the mechanisms that facilitate those economic exchanges. This drive for regional trade development is indeed now more than ever, with the Caribbean being one of the hardest hit regions coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Exacerbated by evolving geopolitical dynamics due to ongoing conflicts in Eastern Europe, increasingly with high inflation and severe supply chain disruptions. This 16th Business Forum, coordinated by the Association of Caribbean States in close collaboration with the Republic of Suriname, seeks to boost the slowing economic growth of the region by promoting an inward-looking approach for economic development, showcasing innovation in Caribbean exports and entrepreneurship, areas of potential trade partnerships, and opportunities for overcoming barriers to intra-regional trade and connectivity. This has been already mentioned several times in the first two speeches. I attended recently this Digital Cities 2 conference organized by UNDP in Trinidad last week. And in one of my interventions, I underscored the importance of contextualizing connectivity with the wider context of the greater Caribbean and not treating it within smaller sub-region groupings of Latin America and Caribbean countries. On this front, if we are to achieve any progress, we really need to address this issue as one greater Caribbean, and the ACS represents an important platform for this. It is vital to keep in mind that trade pivots on connectivity, with a lower degree, of course, of connectivity in both transport, of course, and digital. Following the substantial initial impact of COVID-19 on the Caribbean countries, including a cessation of cruise lines and a combined fall of 94% in all traffic, air traffic, when national transport restrictions were first implemented, the region is still faced with various connectivity challenges. In 2023, intra-regional trade for countries in the Caribbean community declined over time due to many factors, including high costs of transport and other logistical challenges. This region is confronted with challenges stemming from insufficient infrastructure, as has also been mentioned, poor cargo handling, and a lack of automated trade processes, which creates lengthy shipping times and indirect logistic flows due to an inability to generate economies of scale in intra-regional shipping volumes. Despite these challenges, advances in both Caribbean air and maritime connectivity have been made through recent transport and trade developments among ACS countries. For instance, CARICOM leaders have agreed to working to achieve full free movement of persons within the CARICOM single market and economy. I'd like to pose that as a challenge so we can maybe extend this to the rest of ACS member states. Additionally, Guyana, Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago have united to launch a cargo and passenger ferry service for the Southern Caribbean in the first half of 2024, while an additional ferry service led by a private consortium is set to be launched by the end of the year, serving the Eastern Caribbean area. In terms of regional production, the United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, has reported that on the supply side, production has increased in several economic activities, in spite of declining annual GDP growth for most Caribbean countries. One regional challenge that countries have turned into an opportunity for innovation in the Caribbean is high food import bill, currently estimated at USD 6 billion, in keeping with the organization's visions of 25 by 25 reduction in the regional food import bill. CARICOM reported that for the year 2022, Guyana and Jamaica respectively experienced a near 12% and 17% growth in agriculture. Caribbean micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises have also become a source of trade resilience and innovation. MSMEs account for about 70% to 85% of enterprises in the region, between 60% and 17% of the GDP, and approximately 50% of employment, including those from marginalized groups, with almost 40% of small businesses owned by women. MSME development is therefore essential to not only achieving economic innovation and growth, but also gender equality and reduce inequalities. While the aforementioned intra-regional trade opportunities are promising, the success of the same depends on guaranteeing they're sustainable in the face of Caribbean-specific challenges, such as the vulnerable of small island nations to climate change and the regional history of transport infrastructure constraints that has also been mentioned before. In this light, the multinational nature of the Greater Caribbean has facilitated a historical range of economic spaces and trade partnerships to sustain continuous cooperation dialogue among countries, including the Latin American Integration Association, ALADI, established in 1980, which aims at creating a Latin American common market and constitutes the largest integration group in Latin America, with Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, Panama, and Venezuela among its 13 member states. CARICOM's CSME was also implemented in 1989 to facilitate the removal of trade and professional restrictions in the sub-region, instituting bilateral trade agreements with its Spanish-speaking neighbors, including Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and Venezuela, for the trade of both goods and services. The OECS additionally envisions the implementation of the Eastern Caribbean Economic Union, where barriers to trade are reduced or removed for a single market. As per its mandate, the ACS is continuously seeking cooperation partners with other regional development institutions, such as the Caribbean Development Bank, with which it recently entered into a memorandum of understanding to develop synergies, particularly in addressing climate change, improving air and maritime connectivity and trade. It has also collaborated with the Development Bank of Latin America, CAF, to promote sustainable, focusing mainly in the green economy and blue economy development. And moreover, the ACS, in close collaboration with Martinique, was able to successfully host the first connectivity conference of the Greater Caribbean, which brought together over 200 representatives from national transport, logistics, and aviation sectors to coordinate efforts and espouse ideas for sustaining transport and business connectivity in the Caribbean. In conclusion, the 16th Business Forum of the Greater Caribbean seeks to bring together the diverse knowledge and experiences of English, French, and Spanish-speaking Caribbean countries in a market of 250 million people. This forum represents a valuable trade platform for dialogue between the region's governments, institutions, private sector businesses on best practices, solutions, and lessons learned for intra-regional trade opportunities such as agribusiness and agriculture, MSMEs strengthening, and knowledge-based services through digital transformation. The contributions you make here today will undeniably be invaluable to shaping the region's trade outlook. What you accomplish here over the next 2 days will give us even more reason to celebrate this 30th anniversary of existence in July of this year, and that we thank you for coming all together. As I said in an interview recently, this is a gathering of friends who are all living through some of the same problems and seeking for the same solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary General Sabonge, for those impactful words uniting us into one greater Caribbean. And yes, a group of friends. Next, we have another vital aspect of our agenda: trade, development, and external economic relations. Please join me in welcoming the esteemed representative of the Chair of the Association of Caribbean States Special Committee on Trade, Development, and External Economic Relations, who will share their valuable perspectives on enhancing the trade frameworks and economic partnerships across the region. Thank you.
Excelentísimo señor Chan Santoki, presidente de la República de Suriname. Su Excelencia Albert Ramdin, ministro de Relaciones Exteriores de la República de Suriname. Secretario General de la Asociación de Estados del Caribe, Su Excelencia Rodolfo Sabonge. Representantes de los Estados miembros, miembros asociados y observadores de la Asociación de Estados del Caribe. Invitados distinguidos. En mi calidad de presidente del Comité Especial de Desarrollo del Comercio y Relaciones Económicas de la Asociación de Estados del Caribe, es un placer inmenso darles la bienvenida aquí al 16º Foro Empresarial del Gran Caribe de la AEC, en esta hermosa ciudad, Paramaribo. Hoy es uno de los eventos simbólicos de la asociación, ya que busca unir a las empresas del Gran Caribe. Quiero aprovechar esta oportunidad para agradecer a los organizadores, a la República de Suriname, el país anfitrión del Foro Empresarial de este año, y también al equipo de la AEC, que continúa trabajando fervientemente para el éxito de este encuentro. Son su visión y su compromiso los que han dado lugar a esta importante reunión. Dado que la región se encuentra en la cúspide del crecimiento, creo que es vital que evaluemos las oportunidades y las vulnerabilidades que tenemos ante nosotros. El 16º Foro Empresarial llega en un momento caracterizado por la necesidad de adaptación a la multiplicidad de cambios en el escenario internacional, los conflictos, la crisis climática. Todos somos muy conscientes de los retos que han asolado la región durante los últimos 3 años. Y también somos conscientes de que estos retos son vulnerabilidades agravadas, que ya existían mucho antes de la pandemia. Pero, sin embargo, hay que señalar las oportunidades que surgen en esta crisis, porque estos retos exacerbados han presentado una variedad de oportunidades que pueden avanzar la región hacia un entorno empresarial receptivo y facilitador que fomente una mayor competitividad en los sectores productivos. Ellos nos han permitido hacer balance de los progresos realizados en nuestro programa de desarrollo y efectuar las calibraciones necesarias para prestar el apoyo adecuado a las empresas en la región. Durante los 2 próximos días tendremos la oportunidad de que las principales partes interesadas de los sectores público y privado escuchen las necesidades del actual sistema empresarial regional y elaborar una hoja de ruta muy clara y pragmática para materializar un sistema regional que atienda las necesidades de las empresas, que son los motores de nuestras economías. Por lo tanto, preveemos no solamente un debate muy sólido y fructífero que puede aportar soluciones lucrativas en áreas relativas a la expansión de los sectores productivos, pero también la realización de oportunidades. Les invito a participar plenamente en las mesas redondas y conferencias previstas para estos 2 días. El crecimiento que se promete a través de los esfuerzos de colaboración de todos los implicados, desde los gobiernos hasta las pequeñas empresas, constituirá sin duda la base sobre la que construiremos un entorno empresarial más resistente y favorable y garantizaremos que el Gran Caribe prospere independientemente de los obstáculos que podamos encontrar en nuestro camino. El foro empresarial sigue siendo un componente crítico del programa de trabajo de comercio en el marco de las actividades de la asociación y es una herramienta fundamental para promover y facilitar la expansión de las pequeñas y medianas empresas, las MIPYME, como motores del crecimiento económico de la región. El apoyo al desarrollo de las MIPYME es necesario si queremos mejorar los resultados del comercio intrarregional de la región y permitir que nuestras economías fortalezcan las cadenas de valor y la participación en la cadena de suministro internacional. Sería negligente o injusto por nuestra parte no destacar el papel cada vez más importante que desempeñan las pequeñas empresas y su necesidad de apoyo a la hora de determinar su habilidad y capacidad para exportar. Si nos tomamos realmente en serio la tarea de garantizar un comercio inclusivo, las pequeñas y medianas empresas deben estar en el centro de los beneficiarios a los que tratamos de ayudar. Su papel en el progreso de la región y en nuestras vidas no puede realmente subestimarse. Por lo tanto, también debo aprovechar esa oportunidad para recordar a todas las agencias y empresas presentes su papel vital en la realización de este entorno empresarial receptivo y propicio. Debo reiterar que las pequeñas empresas y el sector privado en general siguen siendo cruciales para cerrar las brechas de desarrollo y este foro nos ofrece la plataforma para comprometernos, explorar y determinar herramientas y metodologías para cerrar esas brechas y reforzar la internacionalización. Ruego a todos los participantes que aprovechen la plataforma que ofrece este foro empresarial para relacionarse entre sí, compartan las mejores prácticas, construyan y fortalezcan las relaciones regionales y compartan experiencias que puedan ayudar a la asociación a determinar programas que puedan beneficiar a la comunidad empresarial de nuestro Gran Caribe. El objetivo final es aumentar el comercio intrarregional con el Gran Caribe y esto solo se puede lograr reforzando las conexiones regionales. Me complace darles nuevamente la bienvenida al Foro Empresarial y les deseo 2 días fructíferos y productivos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. And even though I don't understand Spanish very well, I understood some of it and it was very inspiring. Thank you. It's time to shift gears and enrich our senses with a special cultural performance. I'm thrilled to introduce an artist whose craft weaves the vibrant threads of Caribbean heritage, love, and social discourse into a compelling tapestry. A wordsmith who shapes her own stories and will no doubt shape ours today. Please give a warm welcome to Zulile Blinker, a trendsetter in spoken word and performance art from Suriname, as she brings us a performance that promises to touch, inspire, and provoke thought. Let's embrace the power of her words.
2. Yes. Fawaka, how you doing? Buenos dias, goedemorgen, bonjour. Your Excellency and all distinguished guests. So I was asked to do this and do this fast because we don't have a lot of time. So I gonna invite you to dive with me in words and sounds because we have a mission to complete here. So we're gonna do this. Will you join me? Let me hear you know. Hand, belly, back and tongue. We seek, we find, we lose, and if keen, we win as one. So ring the alarm. Here, now, on the pulse of morning, rise up, wake up and live. Knowing that there is no one size that work must be done. 35 states, 35 million people covering more than 2.75 million square kilometers. We, the greater Caribbean. A nation in transformation, ancient and powerful, singing tomorrow's truth on wings of resilience. Echoing from all corners of the world, whence comes a long shadow of diversity. A weave tapestry of color, painting rhythms ready to rock steady, characterizing life. From granny right down to grand picnic. Is we identity. Is we identity. Now here, we strive not to slide in an ambush in the night. Instead of talking about lovers in the park, flowers, bees, and trees. It's the guns and hurricane mentalities that cry out for peace. A smile that is dimmed in coastal erosion. No transport, no trade emotions. Where every man's burden is the heaviest. So ring the alarm, knowing the hour is not a given. Give and receive with gratitude and respect. Having in mind that the hearts and smiles of our children depends on us. Being of service to each of us beyond the self. Being of service to each of us beyond the self is priority. Quit ailing in the failing. Ring the alarm to dim the alarms. The children are waiting, anticipating what good ancestors we will be. Vibrant, responsible, and proud. So be welcome. Be welcome. And come like a prayer, a meditation, carrying your bucket to the well, knowing that you are daughters and sons, crafting our future's redemption songs. Consulate to cooperate, consulate to cooperate, knowing that one size don't fit us all. So when we stretch our necks to the sun, hand, belly, back and tongue, seek, find, lose, and let us ring the alarm and win as one. I should believe.
Wow, Ms. Zulile, that was a stunning performance. Thank you. We will ring the alarm. We're privileged to have with us a leader whose vision and dedication is pivotal to not only today's event, but also the future trajectory of our region. Please join me in welcoming His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, the President of the Republic of Suriname, as he shares his insights and aspirations that underscore our collective endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, President Santokhi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Welcome, all of you, and a good morning to you all. Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Secretary General of the Association of the Caribbean States, and your team, other distinguished ministers, heads of delegation from the region, members of diplomatic corps, all the representatives of the several ministries, business executives, exhibitors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a distinct honor and privilege to welcome you to the 60th Business Forum of the Association of the Caribbean States. And I'm pleased that my country, Suriname, can host so many esteemed government officials, business support organizations, trade support organizations, NGOs, and most importantly, entrepreneurs from the greater Caribbean and other regions. Yes, we can reach greater heights when we collaborate and unite to achieve similar goals. And I extend my deepest gratitude to the staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and International Cooperation, and the staff of the Association of the Caribbean States for graciously hosting this significant event. Your dedication and commitment to facilitating collaboration and knowledge sharing among governments, business and NGOs, and ACS members and associate states are truly commendable. The theme of this forum, fostering sustainable growth through increased production and improved connectivity, is significant to Suriname, since increasing exports and attracting investors is our main focus as government. As we do this, we need to encourage sustainable growth and improve connectivity, which is a must in the process. Many countries in the greater Caribbean have similar conditions, making it essential to collectively explore opportunities and jointly work towards reaching greater heights. Only by cooperating can we unlock the region's potential. I also want to mention our special bonds because of our shared cultural history, which gives us a greater Caribbean identity. We share many similarities in food, dance, and lifestyle, which definitely result in similarities in entrepreneurship. Many of the member states have quite a few small and medium enterprises, which we as governments need to support. Our greater Caribbean identity can drive us to great success by cooperating together. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's forum touches all member states, which our collective aspirations for a prosperous and resilient community. We need to think about sustainable production,
keeping in mind the Sustainable Development Goal, the SDGs, and driving economic growth and development in our region. I also want to address some special invitees here today who are not member states, but you are most welcome. We may learn a lot from their experience, and they may even be attracted to invest in our countries. The Greater Caribbean needs job creation, technology transfer, and better infrastructure by land, air, and sea. As policymakers, we will deliberate today on sectors such as trade, transport, and tourism during this forum. Our entrepreneurs need to explore innovative solutions and collaborative partnerships that will enhance connectivity and promote sustainable practices to unlock the full potential of our region's economic landscape. I am confident that this unique business forum will bring about transformative initiatives, innovation, and connections that will benefit our region and economies, to our companies, our people, families, our children, and also our grandchildren. Together, we can leverage our strengths, address common challenges, and harness the power of cooperation to overcome barriers and build inclusive and equitable development across the Greater Caribbean. I encourage all participants to actively engage in fruitful discussions, share success stories, and explore collaborative opportunities that will propel our region towards sustainable growth and prosperity. In line with our commitment to nurturing the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurship, I am delighted to announce the Suri International Business Talks session, which will engage university, high school students, and startup companies during this event. These sessions will provide invaluable insights into doing business in the world and in Suriname to our future leaders. So, ladies and gentlemen, please discuss opportunities and expand your horizon. And the Secretary General just mentioned what we are doing to promote the business in the Caribbean region. The example was provided that 3 countries, Guyana, Trinidad, and Barbados, will explore the connectivity opportunity by ferry, and later Stadium Suriname will be included also. But I want to add at this opportunity the sub-regional development strategy, what we are developing as Suriname, Guyana, and Brazil. And yes, we have signed an agreement signed by the 3 presidents of this country to develop the northern part of Brazil jointly with the east part of Guyana and the west part of Suriname. That this region is very potential for industrial development, which will be supported by the existence of oil and gas in this area in the north part of Guyana and Suriname on both sides. Huge amount of oil reserves and gas reserves which can be utilized for the development of this region with cheap energy, in developing industries, in developing the bauxite industry in West Suriname, but also the connection between the 2 countries, Guyana and Suriname, which is not only a physical bridge, but it's a bridge for strategic development of the north part of Brazil, Archinorte, and Guyana and Suriname, which will be the most economic region in this part of the continent, which will give Brazil the opportunity to connect the north part of Brazil with Guyana and Suriname with shore bases, and which will improve the promotion of business from Brazil, Suriname, Guyana to the Caribbean region. And in that perspective, you have to see the connectivity with the ferry between these 4 countries, but also that this region can function as a hub for other regions, for the air connectivity, but also the land connectivity. And we are in discussion with the French Republic to discuss the connection between Suriname and French Guyana with the bridge on the east side, the Maroena River. So the connectivity which will be established the coming years with commitment of the Sri President will give a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs. For example, the bridge which will connect Suriname and Guyana, and this year we'll start with it, will cover also the area of economic zone where entrepreneurs can invest in business, in tourism, and a lot of other opportunities. So I'm inviting you to look at that sub-regional development, and I don't know if there will be time during this conference, Minister, that will ask State Oil to present that piece of sub-regional development which will enable all of you to come and invest. And we will facilitate you. We are welcoming you. I offered already more than 300,000 hectares of piece of land for agriculture business, and hope that you will respond on it, because the land is available. You can establish your agribusiness over here and guaranteeing the food security in the Caribbean. And that is what that Guyana, as a lead head in the agriculture, had presented to the Caribbean leaders, and we have approved it, that we need to have more food production in our own region for the region. And the only solution is to invest in our region and to produce and to deliver for our communities. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I extend my deepest gratitude to you all here today. In closing, let us reaffirm our commitment to building a future where economic development is not just a dream, but a tangible reality for every citizen of the greater Caribbean. Let us make today a legacy towards a brighter, more resilient, and prosperous future. I wish you all fruitful deliberation, and thank you. May God bless you all. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. President, and what an inspiring speech. I almost got on stage with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, following the President's inspiring speech, we will now capture a moment that represents the unity and collaborative spirit of this conference. We will now commence to taking the official photo moment of the ACS 2024 Business Forum and Opening Ceremony. May I please invite to the stage first all heads of delegation. Give me one moment. I'd first like to invite all the heads of delegation, after which we would get the Minister and Secretary General Sabonge. Following then the President. All right. We're about to start in 1 minute. Let's take this momentum occasion. Camera ready? One more. Yeah. Thank you so much. Can I have someone escorting them off the stage, please?